In a tall glass tower in the heart of New Geneva City, a young girl sat quietly by a large window. Her name was Mira. She was the daughter of the most powerful man on Earth's E.O. Harlan Vex, a billionaire who owned half the world's tech and medicine. Mira had soft brown eyes and long black hair, but her legs had never worked since birth. Doctors from every part of the world had tried to help her. Machines, surgeries, even advanced gene therapy, all had failed. Despite his money and power, Harlan couldn't fix the one thing he loved most, his daughter's pain. The tower had everything: robots, floating furniture, glass elevators, but Mira felt like a bird in a cage. She was smart and kind, always reading books and watching the stars. But deep inside, she wanted to run, to dance, to feel the earth under her feet. One evening, as Harlan stared at a screen showing new failed test results, his chief scientist entered the room. "Sir," she said, "we've reached the limit of what we know. Maybe the answer lies elsewhere." "Elsewhere?" Harlan asked, raising an eyebrow. "There is no one more advanced than us." The scientist hesitated. "Well, there is someone, a man. He's not a scientist. Not a doctor, he's a farmer." Harlan laughed. "A farmer?" "This is not a joke." But the woman was serious. "He grows crops in the outlands, no machines, just his hands, soil, and something else. People say he heals sick animals with a whisper. That crops grow just by his touch." Harlan dismissed her. "I don't believe in stories." Still, the name stayed in his mind that night. Tarn, the farmer. Far from the city, past broken roads and old machines covered in dust, there was a green patch of land. Unlike the dead lands around it, this place was alive: trees full of fruit, birds singing, flowers blooming. Tarn, a man with rough hands and calm eyes, moved gently between his crops. He was poor in money, but rich in peace. One morning, a strange sound broke the quiet. A silver shuttle landed beside his farm. Out came two men in black suits. "Tarn?" one asked. "Yes?" he said, not stopping his work. "Our employer requests your help. A healing for his daughter." "I'm no doctor," Tarn said. "We were told." "You don't need to be." Tarn stood still. He looked toward the sky, then at the earth. "I'll come." Back at the tower, Mira was watching the clouds when the door opened. A man stepped in. Not like the others. He wore old boots, simple clothes, and smelled like the wind and trees. "You're not a scientist," Mira said. "No," Tarn smiled. "What can you do that machines can't?" she asked. "I don't know," he said. "But may I try?" She nodded. He sat beside her, silent. Then he placed his hand gently on her knee. He didn't speak a spell. He didn't press any button. He just closed his eyes and whispered, "It's not about fixing. It's about remembering." That night, Mira dreamed of running through fields, touching flowers, and laughing under the rain. When she woke up, something felt different. The sun rose behind the tall tower, casting a golden glow on its shining glass. Mira sat in her chair by the window, just as she always did. But today, something felt new. Her legs felt warm, and she could still feel the dream from the night. Before in her dream, she had walked, she had run. The grass had kissed her feet, the birds had sung her name. It had felt so real. She looked down at her legs, still silent. But deep inside, there was something she had never felt before: hope. Harlan Vex stood beside her. His sharp eyes were fixed on her face. "Do you feel different?" he asked gently. She nodded. "Yes, I feel alive." Harlan turned to Tarn, who stood quietly near the glass wall, his hands folded, eyes calm like a still river. "What did you do?" Harlan asked. "There were no machines, no tools." "I listened," Tarn said. "Listen to what?" "To the earth," he replied. "To her." Harlan was a man of science, facts, and hard logic, but he said nothing more. because for the first time, his daughter had smiled in a way she never had before. Over the next few days, Tarn visited Mira each morning. He never brought anything with him. No equipment, no data, no devices. He just came, sat beside her, and placed his hands gently on her legs. He never forced her to speak. Sometimes he spoke to her softly about flowers, about rivers, about animals that healed when they were loved. Other times, they sat in silence. Mira began to look forward to those moments. Her dreams grew clearer. She could see her feet move in them. She could feel the wind in her hair as she ran. And when she woke up, her legs tingled. She told her father, "I feel something inside, like my body is waking up." Harlan watched her closely. He called doctors to check her nerves. They were shocked. "Something is changing," one doctor said. "We don't understand how, but the nerves are reacting." "Is it the machines we gave her last month?" Harlan asked. "No," the doctor said. "Those had no effect. This is new." One evening, Mira and Tarn sat on the floor of her room. She had asked him to teach her how to plant seeds. It was strange, learning farming in a glass tower, but Tarn brought a small pot of soil and a few green seeds. "Press the seed into the soil with care," Tarn said. Mira followed his instructions. Her hands moved slowly, but she smiled the whole time. "Now talk to it," Tarn said. She laughed. "Talk to a seed?" "Yes, everything living listens." So Myra bent closer and whispered, "Grow strong." Tarn smiled. "Good." When her father walked in, he was surprised to see her on the floor, dirt on her hands and cheeks full of joy. "You look happy," he said. "I am," she replied. Harlan stared at Tarn for a long moment. "Tell me the truth. What are you really doing?" Tarn answered softly, "I'm reminding her body that it belongs to the earth, not to wires, not to broken codes." Harlan didn't understand, but he could not deny the change in his daughter. News of Myra's progress began to spread. The tower guards whispered it. The nurses smiled more. Even Dr. Rila watched her with quiet wonder. Some called Tarn a miracle worker. Others called him a fraud. But Tarn paid no attention to praise or insult. He just kept coming, day after day. Then something happened. One morning, as Mira sat alone, her toe moved. Just a little, just once. She gasped. She tried again. It didn't move. She waited, focused. Then her toe twitched again. Tears filled her eyes. She pressed the emergency button. Nurses rushed in. So did her father. "What is it?" Harlan asked. "My toe," she said, crying. It moved. A silence filled the room. Harlan turned to the nurse. "Check it. Scan it now." Machines confirmed it. A small signal from her brain had reached her foot. Not fake, not imagined, real. Harlan's eyes filled with emotion. "It's working," he whispered. Myra looked around. "Where is Tarn?" But Tarn was not in the tower. He had gone to the lower levels, where workers and robots fixed the building systems. He was watching a small flower growing from a crack in the floor. His hand touched the broken ground gently. "I feel you," he whispered. "Sir?" A technician asked. "You're not allowed down here." Tarn smiled kindly, just saying hello to life. Then he returned to Myra's room. Just as the excitement filled the air, she moved her toe. Harlan said. Tarn's face showed no surprise. "That's how it begins." Days passed, then weeks. Mira could now move her feet. Her legs began to show signs of strength. Physical therapists worked with her gently. But every step of the way, Tarn remained beside her. He brought her a small piece of wood one day. "Hold this," he said. "What is it?" Mira asked. "A walking stick. I carved it from the branch of a tree that never gave up." She held it tightly. Later that day, Mira stood for the first time in her life. Her legs trembled, her body swayed. But she stood. Her father wept. The nurses clapped. Tarn only smiled. "Don't thank me," he said. Thank the earth. And thank your spirit. Mira reached out and touched his hand. Thank you, she said softly. No one ever listened to me the way you did. That night, Harlan walked Tarn to the rooftop garden. I don't understand you, Harlan said. But you've done something no one else could. I didn't fix her, Tarn said. She fixed herself. I just reminded her of what she forgot. Harlan looked at the stars. Will she walk fully one day? She will run. The glass walls of the tower no longer felt like a cage. Inside Mira's room, sunlight danced through the windows, lighting up the space where she now stood on her own 2 feet. Her hands held the wooden stick Tarn had given her. It was rough, but strong just like him. Her legs shook under her weight, but she did not fall. Her eyes were focused, her lips pressed together with quiet strength. Tarn stood a few steps away. He didn't speak. He didn't reach out. He just watched, calm, silent, ready. Mira took her first step. It was small, slow, but it was real. One step, then another. The nurses watched from behind the glass with wide eyes. Her father stood frozen. His breath caught in his throat. She's walking, he whispered. Not far. Not fast, but forward. Mira reached Tarn and smiled. You said I would run. You will, Tarn replied softly. In the days that followed, Mira walked more. Each day, she pushed herself a little farther. With every step, her muscles grew stronger, her heart lighter. The pain was there sometimes, but so was joy. Tarn continued to guide her, but not like a doctor. More like a friend or a quiet wind that helped her balance. He still spoke of the earth, of trees, and the way rivers find their path through stone. Harlan watched everything carefully. He asked his scientists to record every movement, every nerve signal, every muscle twitch. How is this possible? He asked Dr. Reela. She shook her head. No machine did this, no surgery. Whatever he's doing, it's beyond our understanding. Then study it, learn it. I want results. But sir, she said gently, what if it's not something we can copy? Harlan didn't answer. One morning, as Mira practiced walking through the hall, she heard a sound she hadn't heard in years. Laughter. Her own laughter. She turned to Tarn. I don't remember the last time I laughed. It remembers you, Tarn replied. It never left. Just waited. They walked to the garden on the top floor of the tower. It was a quiet place, full of small plants and artificial trees. But today, Tarn brought real seeds in his pocket. May I plant something? He asked. Yes, Mira said. He found a patch of bare soil and knelt down. Mira joined him. Together, they pressed seeds into the earth. Tarn closed his eyes and whispered. To the soil, what are you saying? She asked. Just hello, he replied. It's always polite to greet the ground before you ask it to grow. Mira smiled and copied his whisper. Hello, ground. Tarn chuckled. You're learning. But peace never lasts forever. One evening, Harlan received a message from the Global Bio Council. They had heard of Mira's recovery. Too fast. Too unusual. Unauthorized biological methods detected. The message read. Submit full report. Identify subject called Tarn. Harlan was angry. They don't understand. They think he's a threat. They fear what they cannot control. Dr. Reela said quietly. They fear someone poor achieving what they could not. Harlan growled. He walked to Mira's room. She was asleep, breathing peacefully. Tarn sat by the window, his eyes on the way. Stars. They want to take you, Harlan said. Tarn nodded. I expected that. Why didn't you tell me this could happen? Because it always does, Tarn said. When something new grows, someone tries to cut it down. Harlan clenched his fists. They won't touch my daughter. I'm not worried about her, Tarn said. She has roots now, strong ones. The next day, 3 council agents arrived. Dressed in gray suits, Their faces hard and cold. They met Harlan in his office. "We must speak to the man called Tarn," one said. "He's not part of your system," Harlan replied. "He helped my daughter when your science failed. We must understand his method. You had years. He had days. This is not a request." Harlan narrowed his eyes. "I don't care." Mira entered the room, walking slowly but confidently with her stick. Her voice was calm. "You don't need to fear him." "You should not be walking," one agent said. "I am," she replied, "because he helped me believe I could." The agents looked at each other. "We must bring him for study." "No," Myra said firmly. "He may be dangerous." Mira shook her head. "You think kindness is dangerous. That is your weakness." The agents left without Tarn, but they would be back. Later that evening, Tarn stood in the garden again, watching the first sprout grow from the seed they had planted. "It listened," he said. "So fast?" Mira asked. "It's not about speed. It's about trust." "Do you think the council will come again?" she asked. "They always come," Tarn said. "But they don't understand what really matters." Mira looked at the green leaf. "What matters? That life cannot be controlled. It must be loved." Meanwhile, in secret labs around the world, scientists tried to copy Tarn's effect. They scanned him from afar, studied recordings, examined the soil where he walked. They found no tech, no special signals, no proof. One scientist reported, "His results are real, but his method is invisible." Another said, "Perhaps the power is not in the earth, but in the connection." The council grew restless. "This man breaks the rules of science. That makes him a threat." Back in the tower, Tarn prepared to leave. "Why are you going?" Mira asked. "Because your journey is not mine. You are strong now, but I want to walk beside you longer." "You will walk farther than me," Tarn said, "and others will follow your steps." Mira hugged him. It was the first time she stood tall, arms around someone, not from a chair, but from her own strength. "Will I ever see you again?" she asked. Tarn looked at her with kind eyes. "You'll see me in every seed, every wind, every tree that dares to grow where no one thought it could." And then he left. Mira stood alone on the tower rooftop, watching the sun set. The sky turned gold and orange. The city below glowed with lights. She took a deep breath. Then, with no stick, with no support, she walked forward. Each step was hers. Each step was human. Each step was a reminder that the world still had mysteries beyond machines. And sometimes, all it took was one whisper to awaken what had been sleeping all along. The tower no longer felt silent. Every floor seemed to carry Mira's footsteps. Her slow, steady walk was not just a miracle, it was a message. A message that something impossible had happened. That a girl who had never walked now moved with her own strength. Mira didn't walk for attention. She didn't walk to prove anyone wrong. She walked because it was hers now. Something she had waited for her whole life. People in the tower smiled when she passed by. The nurses cheered softly. The engineers nodded in respect. Even the robots paused to observe her. No code had taught them that. They just knew. Her father, Harlan Vex, watched her from afar. His heart was full, but also uneasy. The world outside was watching too. The Global Bio Council had not forgotten, nor forgiven. Far below the tower, in the open media zones, news of Mira's recovery had become the top story. People all over the world were asking the same questions. Who is Tarn? How did he heal her? Why did no machine succeed, but he did? Some said it was a natural miracle, others called it fake. A few believed Tarn was something more, something beyond science. A secret the world had forgotten. Videos of Mira walking were shared millions of times. Some saw hope. Others saw danger. In secret meetings, the council spoke darkly. "If this spreads," one official said, "people will stop trusting our systems." "Then we control the story," said another. "Or remove the problem." Back in the tower, Mira had started walking without her stick. Just a few steps at first. But each one was stronger than the last. Dr. Reela continued her scans. Her muscles are repairing faster than anything I've ever seen, she told Harlan. It's not normal, but it's beautiful. Can we understand it? Harlan asked. We can record it, Reela said, but understand it? No, it's beyond the data. Harlan turned to the window. He remembered Tarn's calm voice, the way he had touched the soil, the way he had whispered to things no one else could hear. I tried to fix her with everything money could buy, Harlan said. But he did it with nothing. Not nothing, Reela replied. With love, with time, with listening. Mira had started spending time in the tower's rooftop garden. She took care of the small plants Tarn had helped her plant. She watered them, whispered to them, and smiled when they bloomed. But one afternoon, as she checked on the leaves, she saw something that made her stop. The small green plant had withered. The soil around it was dry, but not just from lack of water. It felt wrong. She touched the dirt. It felt cold, dead. She rushed to the garden system controls and checked the data. The sensors showed a sudden drop in energy and natural response in the soil. Something artificial had touched it, she called. Dr. Reela, this soil isn't sick, Mira said. It's been silenced. Reela scanned the patch. Her eyes narrowed. This is chemical interference. Someone is trying to block the energy flow. Why? Mira asked. To make the plant stop listening, Reela said. To kill what Tarn left behind. That night, Harlan received a private message on his secured screen. You will surrender the soil samples and all footage of the farmer's activity within 48 hours. If not, the tower will be labeled a bio-threat zone and taken under council control. Harlan stared at the message. His fist tightened. Next morning, Mira stood in front of her father. You're not going to give them what they want, are you? She asked. No, he said firmly. I won't let them erase this. They're afraid. Yes, he nodded. Because they built a world where only machines are trusted, where only labs can heal. But you were healed by something older, something real. Mira looked down at her hands. Do you think Tarn knew this would happen? He knew the world would try to silence what it doesn't understand. Then, we won't let them. Later that day, Mira stepped in front of a live camera. Her father had opened a secure broadcast line to all major media zones. The world watched. Mira stood tall, strong, no stick, no chair, just her. My name is Mira Vex, she began. I was born unable to walk. Science tried everything. But in the end, I found healing in something we all forgot, a human touch, care, and the power of nature. She looked straight into the camera. I was helped by a man named Tarn, a farmer. He didn't offer promises. He offered patience. He didn't fix me. He helped me remember who I was. She stepped forward. This is real, and it is human. We must not fear it. We must listen to it. People across the world cried. Felt something stir inside them, something true. But the council acted fast. They sent drones to the tower. Not with weapons, but with scanners, blockers, silencers. Machines built to erase any unknown element. Harlan activated the tower's defense protocols. We won't fight them with weapons, he told Mira, but we'll stop them another way. How? By letting the world see everything. They opened all the tower's cameras, every hallway, every lab, every garden, live. The people saw the drones enter, saw the plants fade, saw the fear return. But then, something happened. In the rooftop garden, the second plant that Tarn and Mira had planted began to glow faintly, not from light. From life. It was trying to resist it. Mira ran to it. Barefoot. She dropped to her knees and touched the soil. I remember you, she whispered. And then something pulsed. The soil warmed. The leaves lifted. The plant shone bright green. The drones froze. The data screens went blank. The blockers shut off. The council lost the signal. Around the world, people stood up from their screens. Something ancient had awakened, not in wires, but in them. The tower garden was quiet after the light faded. But something had changed. The plant that had nearly died now stood tall and bright. Its leaves were strong. The soil around it pulsed softly like a gentle heartbeat. Mira stood barefoot, her hand still on the soil. She was breathing fast, but her face was calm. She looked at the glowing plant, and for a moment, it felt like it looked back. Harlan rushed to her side. "Are you all right?" "Yes," she whispered. "I felt it. Like the plant was talking to me." Harlan looked at the green light. The council's machines shut down when this happened. Whatever it is, it's stronger than anything they sent. Down in the control rooms, engineers stared at the blank screens. "The drones are offline," one said. "They lost power." "The moment she touched the plant," said another. "Sir," the head technician called. "This wasn't a machine failure. Something blocked them." "Something natural," Harlan nodded. "Something Tarn left behind." In secret rooms far across the ocean, the council held emergency meetings. Leaders sat around digital maps, their faces cold and still. "This event has become public," one official said. "We cannot control the story." "People are asking questions," another added. "They want to learn the method the girl used. They want to meet the farmer. The public is turning against us." One older member stood slowly. "We must act before this grows. Nature cannot be allowed to replace science. It is dangerous to let people believe they can heal without permission. But if we move now," someone warned, "it may start a war." "Then let it be a quiet one," the elder replied. "Silent, like poison in the roots." Back in New Geneva City, Mira sat in her garden. She wore simple clothes. No guards, no doctors, no machines followed her. Only the wind and the soft hum of green life. She touched the plant again. "Are you listening?" she asked. A soft vibration moved through the soil, like a whisper in her skin. She didn't hear words, but she felt a meaning. "We are here. Grow with us." Dr. Rila joined her. "Mira," she said. "I scanned the soil again. The energy you triggered, it's not from chemicals. It's something new, alive. It responds to thought, to emotion." "Like Tarn said," Mira smiled. "It listens." Rila's voice lowered. "If the council finds a way to destroy this, it won't stop with your garden. They'll try to erase everything Tarn taught us." "Then we don't keep it here," Mira said. "We share it." That night, Mira opened the broadcast again. She stood in front of the world, her hands holding the wooden stick Tarn gave her, not for support anymore, but as a symbol. "I am walking today," she said, "because someone believed in something simple: connection. Not machines, not programs, just life." She held up a small plant in a pot. "This seed listens. This soil remembers. This is not just healing, it is a new beginning." Then she smiled. "And I will show you how." In the following weeks, Mira's message spread everywhere. People from all corners of Earth began planting again, not with machines. With care, children planted seeds in old cities. Farmers stopped using heavy chemicals and listened to their land. Sick people sat with open soil under their hands. Some said the warmth came. Some said their dreams changed. The council tried to block the videos, but the files spread faster than they could stop. The people had found something they had forgotten: hope without wires. One morning, as Mira walked through the base floor of the tower, she heard a soft voice behind her. "You've grown." She turned. Tarn stood there. A little dustier, a little older, but the same gentle eyes. "Tarn!" she cried, rushing forward. She hugged him tightly. "I knew you'd return," she whispered. "I saw your message," Tarn said, "and I felt something. The ground where I walk, it hummed. The world is waking up." Mira stepped back and looked into his eyes. "It's Because of you. No, he said, it's because of you. I only reminded you. You reminded the world. They walked together in the garden. Tarn touched the glowing plant. It speaks louder now, he said. Yes, Mira nodded. People are listening again. Tarn looked to the horizon, but danger is still coming. The ones who fear growth, they are still watching. I'm not afraid, Mira said. You'll need others, Tarn said. Then I'll find them. Soon Mira created something new. A learning circle, not a school, not a lab. A place where people came to sit in silence with soil, with wind, with life. Some were sick, some were sad. But all left stronger. They called it the Whisper Grove. More circles grew in other cities, in ruins, in gardens, even in space stations. Soil listened. And so did the people. But then, one evening, a green grove in the South Zone went dark. The plants died in hours. The people there fell sick. The soil turned cold. Mira heard the news and closed her eyes. It has begun, Tarn said. What do we do? She asked. We protect the roots. At night, in the deepest part of the tower, Mira knelt beside the oldest seed Tarn had ever given her. It had never been planted. Just held. Protected. Now she opened the box. The seed was glowing faintly. Tarn stood beside her. Are you ready? Yes. Together, they placed it into fresh soil. Mira placed her hand over it and whispered, Grow. Nothing happened. Then Dasha. Soft pulse. A green light spread slowly outward. Through the ground, through the walls, down into the base of the city. The tower itself shook gently, not from fear, but from life. Harlan looked up from his desk. What's that sound? Rila answered with a smile. The roots are waking. In the shadows beyond the city, the council sent their final message. This is your last warning. Return to the system. Surrender the method, or we will erase. Myra didn't answer them with words. She answered with seeds and the earth. Listened. The wind was soft over New Geneva City, but the air carried tension. Something quiet had begun. A war not with fire, but with fear and silence. In gardens across the world, people still planted seeds. They still sat with their hands in the soil. But now, some of those gardens were dying overnight. Leaves turned gray. Roots shriveled. The ground felt empty, like it had forgotten how to breathe. The council had started moving. Not with soldiers, but with machines. Small, silent drones. Invisible chemicals. Quiet storms of data and dust. They were trying to erase everything Tarn had awakened. But the people were not asleep anymore. Inside the tower, Mira stood in the Whisper Grove with Tarn. Around them, a ring of young learners sat with hands in soil. Some were farmers, some were builders, some were children. Tarn was speaking softly. The earth doesn't fight like we do. It waits, it listens. And when it speaks, it does not shout, it grows. One boy raised his hand. But what if they try to kill the plants again? Mira answered, then we plant again and again. We never stop, Tarn smiled. And when enough people remember, they can't erase us. In the control room, Dr. Rila showed Harlan a global map. Red zones had started to appear. Each one was a place where gardens had failed suddenly, unnaturally. They're targeting the living energy, she said. The soil connection. Not just plants, the memory inside the earth. Harlan's face was tight. Can we protect it? Only if we move faster than they do, she said. We need to link all the living circles, turn them into one. One? Harlan asked. Yes, she said. A living network, not of machines. Of people and plants, of soil and soul. Harlan leaned forward. Make it happen. The plan began that night. Tarn, Myra, and Dr. Rila sent messages to every Whisper Circle across the world. Not orders, invitations. We will connect, the message said. Not through wires. through will. In small towns, in ruined cities, on space stations and floating farms, people placed their hands in the earth and whispered one word: grow. The response was slow, but real. The soil warmed. The plants leaned toward the sky. Energy passed. Through the roots, not electricity, but something deeper. Something old. A network was forming. Quiet, natural, alive. But the council was watching. Inside their dark chambers, leaders read the data with cold eyes. They are creating something. We cannot control, one said. We warned them. Then we must act. And they sent the gray wave. It began in the northern groves. A sudden wind carried a fine dust, not poison, not fire, but a silent destroyer of memory. It turned green to gray. It silenced the earth. Mira felt it before. The reports came. She woke in the night, her legs shaking. The roots, she said. They're hurting. Tarn placed his hand on the floor. They are trying to bury life in silence again. Dr. Rila ran in with reports. Whole circles have gone dark. Then we light them again, Mira said. She stood before the tower's camera once more. This time she didn't stand alone. Tarn stood beside her, so did Harlan. So did children, workers, old women with garden dirt on their hands. Mira spoke clearly. They have sent the gray wave to kill what we've grown. But we are not machines. We are not programs. We are not so easy to erase. She held up a seed. This is our answer. Then she knelt, pressed the seed into soil. Grow, the others followed. Around the world, people planted at the same moment. It was not just planting, it was a signal, a call, and the earth answered. In the gray zones, something strange happened. The soil that had gone cold began to shake. Not with fear, with life. Tiny, green sprouts pushed through the gray ash. The roots were remembering. The gray wave slowed, then stopped. The council's machines lost signal. One agent sent a report. The ground is resisting. We cannot stop it. It is learning. Inside the council chambers, silence fell. They are too many, one whispered. They do not fight like us. They do not need to, said another. They grow. Back in the tower, Tarn and Mira stood in the rooftop garden. New plants were growing beside the old ones, stronger, brighter. They tried to stop life. Mira said. They reminded life why it must go on, Tarn replied. Harlan stepped forward. We've built machines for years, but none of them did what this did. Because this listens, Tarn said. And now, so do we. At sunset, people across the world walked through their green spaces, some in forests, some in small pots, on rooftops, some on ships between the stars. They didn't carry weapons, they carried seeds. They didn't fight with force, they answered with growth. And as the sun sank below the earth, the whole world felt something move in its roots. A quiet living promise. We are still here. The city was quiet, but the air felt alive. Mira stood on the rooftop garden, watching the sun rise over New Geneva. The soft light touched the leaves and flowers she had helped grow. It was a new morning, not just for the city, but for the whole world. She took a deep breath. Her legs were strong now. She could walk, run, and even dance if she wanted. But today, she simply stood, watching, listening. Behind her, Tarn stood silently. His eyes held the calm strength of the earth itself. They had come a long way from a broken girl who couldn't walk to a leader of a new hope. The Whisper Grove had grown beyond the tower. It was now in every city, every village, every home where people had hands willing to touch soil and hearts ready to listen. The world was changing. The council had lost control. Their machines could no longer silence the earth's voice. The people had learned a new language, a language older than any code. Mira looked over the city below. Green rooftops glowed in the morning sun. Parks, gardens, and wildflowers bloomed between buildings. The concrete was no longer cold. It breathed. Harlan Vex came up beside her. The powerful man who had once only believed in machines now saw the world through new eyes. "You changed more than your legs," he said softly. "You changed all of us," Mira smiled. "It was never just me. It was all of us. The Earth, Tarn. And everyone who dared to hope," Harlan nodded. "The future is different now." "Yes," Mira agreed, "because it listens." Suddenly, a message appeared on the tower's main screen. It was from the council. But it was not a threat. It was a request. "We seek peace. We ask to learn the way of the earth, to understand what we once ignored. Will you teach us?" Mira looked at Tarn. He nodded. She took a deep breath and spoke into the microphone. "We will teach. But not for power or control, for respect and life." The council sent representatives, not with weapons or machines, but with open minds and willing hands. They came to the Whisper Grove, to the places where people sat quietly with soil and seeds. They listened. They learned. Slowly, the walls between the old world and the new began to fall. One evening, Mira and Tarn sat together in the garden. The city lights twinkled below, stars above, and the soft hum of green life surrounded them. "Tarn," Mira said, "what made you believe in this? Before anyone else?" Tarn smiled. Gently, "Because I've seen the earth heal itself for centuries. I just knew people could too." "You reminded me of that," Mira said. "And you reminded the world," Tarn replied. Time passed. Mira walked freely now, without sticks or help. She ran in fields far beyond the tower. She felt the wind on her face and the earth beneath her feet, but she never forgot the first steps. The whispered promise that life always finds a way. The world was still full of challenges. Not every garden thrived. Not every person believed, but the seed had been planted, and with care, love, and patience, it would grow. In the final moments, Mira looked up at the sky. The future was wide and full of possibility. She smiled, knowing one thing for sure. When the world listens not just with ears, but with heart, there's nothing it cannot heal.